Next problem up. So the first thing we do is always, everyone, read the question first. What is it that we want? So here it says, what is the combined tax? And if we look at the answer choices, we see that clearly these are all dollar amounts. So we want to find the dollar amount that represents the combined tax. Remember, everyone, there's no point in reading through the information if you don't understand what it's going to be used for. The question sentence is the best place to start. So we want that combined tax right there. And so when we take a look at the context, the story, we see that we're talking about Ava. Ava buys a blender for this amount and a mixer for that amount. And it looks like here it says both have a 6% sales tax. Okay, sounds good. So if we want to find the combined tax and we have a 6% tax on both of these items, well, it looks like we'll go ahead and find the tax for one item, find the tax for the other, and then we can go ahead and add those together. That is absolutely 100% one way to go about it. Now, I'd like to actually, instead of doing that, I'd like to show you a much faster way, and here's how it's going to go. Because both of the items have the same 6% sales tax, we can actually combine these prices first and then apply the 6%. Because we don't have to find this decimal, then that decimal, and then add them together. No, we can simply add the prices first. So watch this. The total price, we'll get the total price by adding the 65 for the blender and the 95 for the mixer. Bring those together. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1, and that'll be 16. So we have $160 here in total before tax. But because they're both, again, I'm going to repeat myself a bunch here, because they both have the 6% tax applied to them, we are allowed to add the prices first, then calculate the percentage. So here we are, the 6% tax multiplied by $160. That's going to give us that total tax. So to get that done, we will convert the 6% into a decimal. And just as a reminder, that's the same as dividing by 100. The shortcut is taking the decimal place and moving it twice to the left. As a reminder, everybody, when we have a blank space there when moving that decimal, what number belongs in there? What do we actually throw in there? Yeah, that'll be a 0. So that will be 0.06 multiplied by 160, and that will give us our final answer, just like that. Let's get to calculating. 160 multiplied by 0.06, 0 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36, carry the 3. 1 multiplied by 6 plus 3 is 9, and we're done. We just have to move those decimal places back once, twice, and there we go. The combined tax will be $9.60 across both items. Making the correct answer here, answer choice B, $9.60. All right, new problem, but we'll approach it with the same gentle approach. We're going to begin with the question sentence. Again, what do we want? So how far is she from camp? So everyone, when we think of the phrase how far, and then we see miles in our answer choices, I think we can all say we're looking for what? Yeah, distance all the way. Distance all the way. So boom, how far is distance? Now, when we read, hey, how far is she from camp? And then when we read the story elements, like check this out, read it nice and carefully. It says here, a hiker walks away from camp this much time, this speed. And then you see that there's another rate and time there. Is it possible to get confused here and maybe think that we're trying to find total distance? Is that possible? Oh yeah, it's absolutely possible to think that you have to add those distances. But that's not the case. Remember, everybody, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it every day as long as I'm a teacher. The story matters more than the numbers. Watch. If I read the story, The hiker walks away from camp. She then turns around and walks back towards camp. So when you hear that, everybody, here's the starting point. Then our friend goes away from camp and then comes back towards camp. Instead of adding, what should we do with those distances, everybody? We're subtracting. Absolutely. Because think about it. Let me just use some arbitrary random numbers. If I said we're going 5 miles here, but then this is 2 miles back, we're subtracting. We're going to cross out the mileage that overlaps. That's what would make us subtract in that case. And that's what we will do. So remember, everybody, the story matters more than the numbers, because the numbers won't get you the right answer unless you know how the numbers fit into the story. So let's put in the proper numbers here. Let's get all this out of the way. And let's phrase this properly. So here, the hiker walks away from camp for 4 hours at 3.5 miles per hour. Okay, cool. I'll move this out of the way, and I'll just write away, moving away from camp. Our time is 4 hours. Our rate is 3.5 miles per hour. Then on the way back, I'm going to highlight this in purple. He then turns around 2.5 hours at 4 miles per hour. Okay, so coming back, that's going to be a time of 2.5 hours and a rate of 4 miles per hour. Okay, here we go, everybody. Now that we're here, we know that we're going to find the away distance, we're going to find the back distance, and we will subtract. Now we know what the story means. Now we have our numbers. Now we're good to go. Let's get the work done. So first, to find the distance, we will multiply the rate and the time together. So let's get this first one done. 3.5 multiplied by 4. 5 times 4 gives us 20, and we'll carry that 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 2. That'll give us 14. And don't forget, when we're dealing with decimals, we bring the decimals back at the end when we multiply. So instead of being 140, we'll bring one decimal back, and that'll be 14. So here we have distance equals 14 miles. Perfect. Now, from here, everybody, the next thing that we'll do is just go over here to the other side. We'll find the distance over here. Distance equals rate times time. 4 times 2.5. Everybody, when we think about 2.5, that's $2.50. 250 times 4, that'll give us 10. But I'll go ahead and show the math just to make sure we're on the same page. 2.5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 4 is 8. Carry the 2 is 10. And we'll bring one decimal back. So my distance here is going to be 10 miles. And there's our story. We can see that we went 14 miles away from camp. And then we turn around and travel 10 miles back. When we perform the operation here, my party people, here we go. What is 14 minus 10? Well, that's just going to be 4 miles. And there we are. So that's what makes the proper correct answer. Answer choice C.